The journey back home for the reincarnation and rebirth of the peerless elder, enduring the hardships of purgatory and experiencing a life and death journey of bloody storms. Mastering unparalleled martial arts, conquering battles, achieving unparalleled accomplishments in the 5 realms of human, immortal, demon, ghost, and demon. Chapter 1. When the Lotus Blossoms. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Roaming and rumbling. The 9 heavenly thunder, thick as a bucket of water, smashed towards the earth with dazzling light and unparalleled pressure. People and all animals were prostrating on the ground, trembling and afraid to look up. The ensuing rainstorm poured down. Mountain floods erupted and seawater flowed back. The world has turned into a hellish scene, with mournful dragons everywhere and piles of corpses. At the border of Dal and Dajo, a major battle has just ended at Longhu Ridge, where 100,000 soldiers from each side perished in the most brutal way possible. The bodies of 200,000 soldiers also drifted towards the shared Blue Tsang River with the flash floods, and the blood stained the entire Blue Tsang River, accompanied by a nauseating smell of blood and an extremely enchanting red. As soon as the thunder stopped, the pitch-black clouds cracked open a gap, and 5 rays of light with the attributes of gold, wood, water, fire, and earth, as well as a purple chaotic aura, entered a soldier's body with 2 knives and 3 arrows. Subsequently, the soldier's wound visibly healed. The soldier lay on the river with his eyes wide open, and a smile tugged at the corner of his mouth. The 9th reincarnation awakens. I touched the tambourine around my waist and it's still there. At this moment, the tambourine is also joyful for the owner's rebirth, constantly shaking, and the 5-element source stone at the edge of the drum continuously hits the drum surface, making a dull sound. Every time the sound of hitting rang out, a mysterious light rose up into the sky. At the same time, in a place that was separated by an unknown number of star domains, a huge drum made a very small and weak sound. A stunning girl suddenly looked up and saw the drum she had been guarding for thousands of years, watching countless times. Tears streamed down her face. Then he ran into the house like a madman, holding a young beautiful woman and saying, "Mother, Mother, my brother is still alive, my brother is still alive." The tears of a beautiful woman also came out of her eyes. The guard at the door stood straight, trembling with excitement, and his eyes turned red. "Young master, have you really succeeded?" Soldier, looking at his own body, he did indeed become. After enduring 9 trials and tribulations, we have finally achieved the unparalleled 9-turn Lotus sacred body. In the first 8 lifetimes of cultivation, each path was aimed at becoming a saint. In this life, the last path to be practiced is the mortal path, also known as the mortal realm, which is the most difficult one. Many people have also practiced the 9 transformations Lotus sacred body before, but without exception, they have all failed. The difficulty of entering any realm lies in having to enter from the mortal body. The first 8 lifetimes were all beings like gods, and suddenly, starting from the very end, the saying goes, from frugality to luxury is easy, and from luxury to frugality is difficult. This is the principle that one cannot make any mistakes in one's state of mind. What's even more terrifying is that if there is a problem with the mortal realm, it can become a useless body at times and can never be practiced again. In severe cases, the body will die and the path will disappear. Because the 9 transformations Lotus sacred body can revive you for 9 lifetimes. If you cannot pass the mortal realm, you will not have an afterlife. If you truly do not enter reincarnation, it is called dying completely. This is also why many cultivators dare not attempt to cultivate the 9 transformations Lotus holy body. Now I can finally bring chi into my body and practice. The soldier is very happy. For the first 18 years of his life, he could only be an ordinary and slightly stronger warrior. In this generation's family, it has always been synonymous with waste due to the inability to bring air into the body. Having tasted the warmth and coldness of the world, moving forward in the midst of suffering, desperately climbing upwards, unable to run to become a soldier. After more than 10 wars over 5 years, he finally became a 10-man shrimp-headed soldier. The sound of the original drum shattered the seal of the body and awakened the dormant memories. After the rebirth of the 9th generation, if the mortal realm is completed and the 9 lotus flowers bloom, it will be the time to go home. However, that will be a bloody journey back home. At the same time, it will also open the prelude to the peerless war. The lotus in my body now only has a very small bud, far from the blooming of the 9 lotus. Are you ready to die? A cruel curve flashed at the corner of the soldier's mouth. The soldier said a word in his heart and then fell into a deep sleep. The 3-day battle exhausted him to the extreme. After an unknown amount of time, the soldier was awakened by something. Opening my eyes and looking around, I couldn't see the river anymore. All the bodies were blocked by foreign objects in the river, pile after pile, and the ones above were still rushing down. Then I saw both sides of the river, full of people. On the left were the people of Dao, and on the right were the people of Dazhou. No one spoke, only the sound of sobs and the act of wiping tears with the cuffs. There are still people alive in my martial arts. I don't know who shouted with a crying voice. When the soldier was picked up, all the people on Dao's side knelt down. At this moment, he is a hero in the hearts of the people of Dawu. The 2 countries have been at war for 30 years, and it is unknown how many people have died over the issue of the ownership of that precious land at the border of the 2 countries. The rulers of the 2 countries have also been suffering from war for a long time, and together they have issued a message to declare to the world that whoever wins this war will have their own dragon veins. We have won. We have won. The people cry and laugh at once. Out of 100,000 people, only 1 died. How many people's fathers, sons, husbands can never go home again? The soldier looked at the corpses covered in the river behind him and said, "Did we really win?" The news of victory, like the wind, spread to the capital of Dao, several 100,000 miles away in just 1 month. The overjoyed Lord Dao trembled his beard and said in a loud voice, "Now let me check. Who is the name of that living soldier, where is his home, and whether he holds any position?" The registered residence officer of the military headquarters soon found him. "I'm going to tell you that the soldier is called Jing Rui. He is 18 years old, from Linqing, and unmarried. At present, he is a 10-husband commander. He is a first-class soldier." The monarch pondered for a moment and said, "Okay, I will immediately issue an order to confer the titles of Senior Soldier Jingrui, Marquis of Wei, and a fiefdom of 10,000 households in Linqing. In addition, I will bestow a son-in-law and marry the 7th princess 6 months later." A group of ministers and gods were listening, but suddenly they couldn't calm down. It is understandable to receive rewards for meritorious service. Surprisingly, all 7 princesses were betrothed. What kind of trouble are you going to make? No, my lord. The princess's marriage is a national matter and cannot be decided hastily. The ruler waved his hand and said, "This matter is settled." Many ministers strongly oppose it. Saint, according to the registered residence, there is a disabled father, a sickly mother, and a 16-year-old sister in Jingrui's family. They have neither family background nor are they rich merchants. Even if they are promoted to the Duke of Wei, they will not be the same as the 7 princess, which will damage the dignity of the country, Saint. The military household register official said sadly. The monarch is not calm now. He directly points to the registered residence official and says, "You his mother." The monarch directly greeted the registered residence official ancestor of the 18th generation in his heart. "You should have told me earlier. Just after I finished talking, you can tell me again. I regret now, but if others don't say that I am the ruler of a country, they will turn around and love wealth." The monarch of the Great Wu Kingdom was angry and said, "Registered residence officials should be dismissed and investigated. They will never be employed." The registered residence officer also responded, paralyzed. "There is no need to discuss this matter again, retreat from court." The monarch stood up and returned to the harem. Chapter 2. Extreme Egg Pain. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The news of Princess Seven's betrothal marriage spread to the harem and immediately caused a stir. The empress and a group of concubines successively challenged the ruler of Dao, openly and secretly accusing him of being too hasty and pleading for mercy. Princess Seven's mother, Consort Hui, cried, made trouble, and hung herself 3 times, causing the Prince of Dao to have a big head. She finally calmed Consort Hui. The monarch was also annoyed and said, I'm nowhere to be seen today. As soon as the eunuch arrived at the door, he hurriedly ran back and was about to speak. The ruler was furious and said, Get lost. The eunuch knelt down urgently with a thud and said, Your Majesty, it is the Empress Dowager who wants to see you. Now, the king of Dao felt that all his officials should be his mother damned. Who are you asking to leave? The Empress Dowager walked over angrily. The Lord of Dao immediately smiled and said, I don't understand propriety and numerology in the servant gate. I am just teaching. Just kidding, in Dao, even the monarch has people who are afraid, that is Empress Dowager Xiao, who will beat them up as she pleases, without hesitation. To be precise, it was the aunt of Dao Guojun. When Empress Dowager Zhao's sister, who was also Dao Guojun's biological mother, fell ill and passed away, the Guojun was only 8 or 9 years old. With one hand, she not only raised him, but also supported him to become the Guojun, suppressing many ambitious people and avoiding the encirclement of the Guojun's competitors several times. It can be said that without Empress Dowager Xiao as her aunt, there would be no Dao kingdom today. You didn't even discuss such a big matter with me, did you? Empress Dowager Xiao was clearly about to get angry. Dawu Guojun smiled bitterly and said, It's all my fault. I'm so happy that I can't help but feel confused for a moment. Empress Dowager Xiao. Can we retract the imperial edict? I'm afraid it's not possible. At this moment, Lord Dao sat down next to Empress Dowager Xiao and held her hand, saying, Mother, you also know that I, Dao and Dazhou, have been fighting for years to determine the ownership of this dragon lineage. How many people have died in the past few decades? Today is truly the happiest day for me. Please forgive my son. Alas, Empress Dowager Xiao let out a long sigh. I'm sorry for you. You better think about how to tell Lao Qi. Empress Dowager Xiao stood up and walked out. Princess Seven, the elders call her Old Seven. The Seven Princess Wu Shuangshuang not only has a stunning appearance, but her high talent is also astonishing. At the age of 17, she entered the realm of the golden elixir and was admired by all her peers. Even many older generations feel inferior. He is also the only young man in Dao who, relying on his own strength, became an external disciple of Wuzhou College. The ranking of the top 3 colleges in Dao is first among Wuzhou College, second among Qingshan Taoist Academy, and worst among Gi Holy Sect. In the vast land of Dao, there are over 1,000 sects, chambers of commerce, Dan Dao Yuan, and so on, big and small. It can be said that both the royal family and the people of Dao are full of expectations for this 7th princess, Wu Shuangshuang. Unexpectedly, she was betrothed to an unnamed person. They all felt unworthy of Princess Seven and complained about the foolish old lord of Dao. Speaking of Jing Rui, after resting at the people's homes for a few days, he left. He didn't go to claim credit or return to the military camp, but went straight towards Linqing. He wanted to go home. The aftermath of the Great War made him instantly feel that fame and fortune were fleeting. Only by living can everything be meaningful. 5 years away from home, homesick. This life's home is very poor, but very warm and loving. I like to see my disabled father doting on me, I like eating sweet potato cakes made by my mother, and I like my younger sister, who is a follower and admiring in her eyes. Now that qi can be infused into the body, Jing Rui never misses every idle moment and seizes the time to cultivate. Absorb the spiritual energy of heaven and earth for personal use. At the same time, I also found a Dan Jing in the sea of knowledge. Various alchemy techniques, formulas, countless. Take out any one of them, they are all top-notch in this world. However, the path of the elixir can only be auxiliary. There are 3,000 paths in the human world, how difficult it is to cultivate. It is even more difficult to achieve a complete path in the human world. However, since we have cultivated the 9 transformations Lotus sacred body, we must move forward courageously and never shrink back. We still need to first cultivate the realm of this world, step by step from postnatal, innate, martial artist, martial spirit, golden pill, crossing calamity, martial emperor, martial king, martial emperor, and martial saint. Each realm has 9 sub-realms. Jingrui is currently born with triple nature, and there is no other way. Previously, he was unable to bring the spiritual energy of heaven and earth into his body. Although Qi can now be introduced into the body, there is a new problem, which is that all the spiritual energy absorbed each time is robbed by the pitifully small lotus bud in Dantian. There is not a trace for oneself to use. Egg pain is extremely painful. As I was walking, suddenly 2 fierce figures were seen fighting each other in the sky, stepping into the air. Coincidentally, one fell in front of Jing Rui and the other fell behind him. Still 1 man and 1 woman. Jing Rui was caught in the middle and confused. After looking at the front and then at the back, Jing Rui decided to move to a different position. Unexpectedly, this man caught sight of Jing Rui's movements while holding his hair, and he also moved, always intentionally trapping Jing Rui in the middle. Grass, this is clearly using me as a sword card. I've messed with whoever I'm calling. Jing Rui felt speechless in his heart. Senior brother, let's make a bet on this kid. If he hasn't collapsed within 10 palms, I'll listen to you in the future. If he collapses, you'll listen to me in the future. How about that? Not much. Jing Rui shouted anxiously. Are you joking? These 2 are at least in the Wuling realm. Standing there and being slapped 10 times by this woman, they probably have been deformed. Don't worry, I will help you resist her power, the man said with a helpless smile. I'll put a hammer in my heart, Jing Rui said helplessly, unable to run away. Jing Rui is also rapidly searching for martial arts skills that can withstand attacks with weakness over strength in the sea of consciousness. Fortunately, I found the martial arts skills of Shuzi Ju in a scripture. Martial arts like this that are beaten but not fought back are mostly practiced by Buddhist monks. As soon as Jing Rui finished speaking, the woman behind her quickly slapped and let out bursts of piercing sounds. The man in front also quickly slapped. When the power of both of them fell on Jing Rui at the same time, Jing Rui Dantian sucked in. There are only 2 moves to accept the character, one is to carry it, and the other is to suck it. If you are already strong, carry it. If you are not strong, use suction. Use the power of others to attack you, suck it into the elixir field, and turn it into your own power. With this inhalation, 2 forces simultaneously enter the body and become like a gentle little lamb, like the feeling of compressed spiritual energy being sent into the body. Jingrui's heart was filled with joy, and he was a bit impressed by the character code. The first palm, Jing Rui just shook slightly. Senior brother, it's possible. Qing Feng palm is so skillfully mastered, the woman praised. Junior sister, we really don't need to be so serious. The man could tell that he was forced and helpless. Second palm. The third palm. One palm is more powerful than the other. After finishing the 10 palm strike, he directly hit Jing Rui from the innate triple to the martial artist triple. Jing Rui was overjoyed, but dared not reveal it. He covered his heart and crouched down, looking as if he had been injured to death. Are you okay? The man asked with concern. What do you say? Jing Rui tilted his head and looked at these 2 guys. Chapter 3. Forced Apprenticeship. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. De co lois ara trong quatrin lay text. Chapter 4. The horse Honeycomb is not generally large. You are listening at novel full.audio. De co lois ara trong quatrin lay text. Chapter 5. The first pill in the world. You are listening at novel full.audio. De co lois ara trong quatrin lay text. Chapter 6. Seeking defeat. You are listening at novel full.audio. De co lois ara trong quatrin lay text. Chapter 7. To kill and enter the Tao. You are listening at novel full.audio. 10 days later, Jing Rui took Nia Haitang back to Linqing on a cloud boat. 5 years away from home, Jing Rui misses his parents and sister very much. Homeland is always remembered. Dad, Mom, Sister, I'm back. Before entering the door, Jing Rui shouted. The closed door remained motionless. I searched in front and behind the house, but no one was seen. Nyo-san, where is my family? Jing Rui caught Fa Xiao. I don't know, Nyo-san dodged his gaze. Nyo-san, let me ask again, where is my family? Jing Rui asked. Jing Rui, 15 days ago, Fu Biao said he had taken a liking to your sister and wanted her to become a concubine. Uncle and aunt refused to accept it, and he was beaten to death by Fu Biao's subordinates. He even sexually assaulted Jing Xiu on the street. Jing Xiu couldn't bear the humiliation and fright and went crazy. She often searched for food in the garbage dump on these nearby streets, and no one dared to help her. Last time, the Baozi shop assistant gave your sister a Baozi, which was beaten to disability. Fu Biao is now wearing the same pants as the Lord's mansion, and we can't compete with them. After speaking, Nyo-san sat on the ground and cried loudly. Jing Rui silently turned around, he wanted to find Jing Xiu. At this moment, his heart was unusually calm. At the edge of the stinky ditch on a street, he saw the familiar figure constantly rummaging through the garbage, tears blurring his vision in an instant. The blackened half banana was about to be delivered to the entrance when a warm one grabbed it and said, Xiu, come home with me. I'll help you kill all the people who bully you in this world. Jing Xiu also looked at the man who seemed to have met before and shouted, brother. He. Perhaps it was a word that had been long lost and longed for in her heart, and Jing Xiu, who had gone completely insane, was held in hand for the first time and walking on the road. Who are you? Let go of this crazy woman. 3 young people stood in front. Jing Rui directly drew his knife and sliced it horizontally. The 3 of them were cut off waist to waist, and due to being too fast, they were still waving knives and guns to rush over, without realizing that they had been cut off in one fell swoop. Blood gushes like rain, but is quickly absorbed by the pursuit of defeat. These 3 people had just died and were frightened, causing people to run away in a swarm. Immediately after, 7 or 8 people, wearing the same clothes, rushed over. Jing Rui killed 2 with a single blow, disabled 1, and the others attacked Jing Xiu behind him. Jing Rui had been on guard for a long time. The remaining light swept over, and the knife light killed him. The remaining 3 people were chopped and their organs were everywhere. Seeking defeat without hesitation, he drained all his blood. I am very excited, my divine sense is connected, and Jing Rui knows. I hope he will kill someone. I am particularly eager for fresh blood. Where is Fu Biao? Take me there, otherwise, I'll die. Jing Rui asked as he stepped on the injured guy's head. At the Lord's mansion, we hosted a banquet for General Huang, who came from the capital. After speaking, Jing Rui slashed his neck with a knife. Settle Nia Haitang and Jing Xiu in place. Jing Rui held the flame of seeking defeat, which had never been extinguished, burning hotter and hotter inside his body. The anger was transmitted to Qiu defeat, and the blade began to turn red as blood, and the killing accident caused diarrhea. The place where one person passes by with one knife is like a winter street, solemn and cold. Perhaps someone reported to the Lord's mansion, and there were over 100 guards standing at the entrance, all in the martial arts realm, with weapons in hand and ready for battle. Jing Rui came with a murderous intent, and these guards couldn't help but shudder. Although there were many brave people, their hearts still trembled. "He's alone, kill him," the guard leader ordered from behind. All the guards rushed out, and Jing Rui flipped his wrist and slashed horizontally, killing the 3 people at the front. Immediately, they also rushed out. The weapons that came from all directions quickly injured Jing Rui in multiple places. At this moment, the purple aura that usually had no presence in Jing Rui's body rushed out from somewhere, wandering around Jing Rui's body, repairing different wounds. Upon discovering this, Jing Rui was pleasantly surprised and shocked. "Since that's the case, then let's fight for injuries and avoid important parts of the head." Jing Rui can exchange injuries for life without hesitation, and exchanging injuries for injuries is not a problem. Confidence comes from rapid recovery ability. Soon, these over 100 guards, who had not withstood a single pillar of incense, were all lying underground. Half of the people were only seriously injured, while the majority died. Jing Rui was covered in blood, both his own and others. After slaughtering the injured soldiers with his hands and knives, there were no more survivors at the gate of the Lord's mansion. It's not that Jing Rui has no mercy in his heart, but he knows that when compassion is scored, it also divides people. With a shudder of defeat, Jing Rui simply let go of his hand and sucked heavily at the blood on the ground, his blade turning crimson and his murderous aura even stronger. At this time, more than 100 people rushed out of the Lord's mansion, including General Huang from the capital city of Dao, the Lord of Linqing, and Fu Biao and others. The Lord of Linqing, Su Jiashan, was furious when he saw this and said, "You're so bold. Are you going to rebel? You dare to kill even the soldiers of Dawu. Don't give me a hat, it has nothing to do with rebellion. I will come today to seek revenge. Whoever kills will be killed, and those surnamed Fu will come out and suffer death." Jing Rui knew that the city lord and his companions had no good intentions. If you want to make things bigger, don't you just want to eradicate the root cause? Of course, the lord surnamed Su is also going to be killed. 5 experts from the ruling 5 realms around Fu Biao walked out together and said, "Your sister's body is really strong, but unfortunately she's crazy. Otherwise, ... Before he could finish speaking, Jing Rui completely let go of all his killing intent. His eyes were crimson, and he was like an eternal demon cultivator. With his arms open, he raised his head to the sky and howled, "I entered the Tao by killing." For a moment, a stunning image appeared in the sky. The originally clear sky suddenly saw clouds and mist rolling, turning from white to red, with a crimson hue. The sword swung out with all its might from Jing Rui's hand, and the 5 guards of the martial spirit realm shook their bodies, triggering the spiritual energy of heaven and earth to form a protective shield to protect themselves. However, they underestimated the failure of those who had never entered the world, and also neglected Jing Rui who had entered the world by killing him. Everything is too late. The sword carried a hint of murderous intent as it passed through their bodies, taking away their vitality. Their eyes were filled with fear and regret. At the moment before death, they saw something in Jing Rui's eyes that did not belong to this world. That is a Shura field with a sea of corpses and blood. Seeing that the 5 of them had not even managed a single move, Fu Biao finally began to fear. "Mr. Su, you can't turn a blind eye, just turn a blind eye. I've done a lot for you." Fu Biao couldn't care so much for his life. Lord Su Jiashan's face is uncertain, will he help or not? After hearing Fu Biao say this, he immediately jumped up and said, "Don't spit blood on someone surnamed Fu." The slight knife intent that was unintentionally triggered just now made Jing Rui feel very mysterious. Taking advantage of that artistic conception, he aimed at Fu Biao and Su Jiashan, who were arguing, and chopped them out. The knife intent was like a revived seed, sprouting, rooting, and leaving leaves. Chapter 8. Too Desperate. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The meaning of that knife is becoming stronger and stronger. With a loud bang, Fu Biao, who had 8 levels of martial spirit, had originally intended to use his vigorous energy to resist it, but unexpectedly, with the intention of a knife, he split him in half like splitting tofu. Su Jiashan was fortunate enough to have a heavy elixir of gold, but his 5 organs were also displaced by the shock, and a mouthful of old blood spurted out. Su Jiashan, who was seriously injured, shouted to the mansion, "Sword 9, it's time for you to fulfill your promise." A flying sword shot out from the room, piercing Jingrue's blade without bias. Jingrue was knocked back 5 zhang by this sword, and his body's qi and blood surged. Jingrue's heart sank as the goods were protected by experts. "Young man, you are very good. Can you give me a thin face? Let Mr. Su go this time." A middle-aged man in white clothes, who is more than snow, stepped out of the air and slowly landed between Jingrue and Su Jiashan. The middle-aged man in white clothes is the Sword 9 and Golden Dan 9 realms in the Su family mountain pass, and 1 foot is about to enter the crossing robbery realm. Don't forget to blink at Jingrue after finishing speaking. Of course, Jingrue knows the meaning. They must have asked Su Jiashan to come forward to protect them, but it is not an indefinite period. There will be many days ahead, so it is not too late to kill them. Moreover, there was no intention of killing Jingrue just now. The act of wielding that sword was not only a promise, but also more of a probe. For someone who has understood the meaning of a knife at a young age, he knows too well how rare it is. "It's not impossible to give you face, but may I ask a question?" Jingrue said. "The real culprit has died, and there is nothing wrong with Su Jiashan killing later." "Thank you very much," you said, Jianjiu said. "Mental madness, who can cure it?" Jingrue knew that Jing Xiu's condition could not be delayed for too long, as taking pills in such situations was not good. Mental problems like this cannot be cured by external forces, mainly by looking at herself or forgetting everything from the past, otherwise there is no cure. However, don't lose heart either, there are exceptions to everything. Finally, Jianjiu did not forget to comfort him. "Thank you," Jingrue turned around and walked away. After finding Haitang and Jingxiu, Jingrue plans to return to Tianjingshan first. "Jingrue, your sister looks so beautiful with a little dressing up. As a girl, I can't even take my eyes off her," Haitang said, holding Jingxiu's hand. "You're also very beautiful," Jingrue doted and touched Jingxiu's head, saying. Due to the cloud boat rented by Jingrue in Tianjingshan, he couldn't accommodate 3 people and had to rent a carriage to practice while walking. During this time, he taught Haitang a purple cloud sword technique, which was the famous sword technique of a female sword immortal in her past life memories. It's really too difficult for the alchemist Haitang. However, Jingrue was pleasantly surprised to find that Jing Xiu was giggling foolishly while drawing from the gourd. She quickly learned how to master swordsmanship, and her talent for sword repair shocked Jingrue, who had memories from the past 8 lifetimes. It's 2 against the sky. Speaking of the lord of the city mansion, since Jingrue left, the general manager Huang said to the injured Su Jiashan, "Mr. Su, I will handle it well on your side. You also need to hurry up a bit, and even if you cut the grass, you still need to get rid of it." After speaking, he made a motion of wiping his neck. Su Jiashan said, "Although General Manager Huang can rest assured, I am also prepared with manpower. Not only for you, but also for my son's revenge. This Jingrue must die." "That's good. After the matter is completed, the position of the state capital is none other than yours." Su Jiashan's face was full of anticipation. 3 days later, Jingrue specially bought 2 swords while passing by a small town, one for Jingxiu and one for Haitang. At the moment Jingxiu picked up the sword, she looked at it for a long, long time, and then casually wielded a sword. The sword's aura surged out, directly cutting out a ditch over 100 zhang long and 3.4 zhang deep on the ground. Jing Rui and Hai Tang were stunned, staring at the deep ditch, unable to calm down for a long time. Who can believe that this was done by a girl who never practiced? And after only learning swordsmanship for 5 days, their hearts were devastated. Too many incredible things are buried in Jingrui's heart. There's a temple there, let's rest here tonight, Hai Tang suggested, feeling tired after several days of driving. That temple is very dilapidated, I don't know which bodhisattva is worshipped, it's a scene of killing. Looking at this dilapidated temple, Jing Rui felt a little uneasy in his heart. But looking at this place where there is no village or shop, only this temple can rest for a while. The lights on the altar were lit, slightly dim. A pile of bonfires dispelled the coolness of the night in the mountains. Jing Rui beat a wild rabbit, roasting it until it tasted greasy, and the meat aroma made Jing Xiu and Hai Tang swallow their saliva non-stop. It's so delicious. The two beautiful women ate very happily. Also, Jing Xiu finished one hind leg and extended her hand to Jing Rui. Jing Rui pulled off one of his front legs and said, "Eat slowly." Watching Jing Xiu, Jing Rui felt heartache and self-blame in his heart. She should be given a better life, Jing Rui said to himself. Late at night, Jing Rui didn't dare to sleep at all, and a faint sound of a branch breaking came to his ears. Listen carefully again, the dilapidated temple is probably surrounded. Jing Rui hid behind the doorpost and looked at it. There were no less than 50 dark shadows. There may be someone behind the scenes. Jing Rui opened the restriction on the space around his waist and quickly took in the sleeping second daughter. Taking advantage of the darkness, Jing Rui rushed out, wielding a knife and killing 3 people in a row. As he passed by the 4th person, he was slapped on the left shoulder by that person. With tremendous force, Jing Rui flew out more than 10 zhang, spat out a mouthful of blood, and rushed into the mountain. Chase. Dozens of people followed suit. It's really exhausting, most of them are martial spirit realm assassins, trouble, Jing Rui analyzed as he ran. Indeed, there are more than a dozen triple assassins of the golden elixir among them. You should know that in such a small place, the cultivator of the golden core triple is the backbone strength. It's better to do something. Jing Rui thinks of it and goes ahead to do it. In no time, the assassins began to slowly touch Jing Rui's side. Ah! A scream echoed through the silent mountains. A Jin Dan realm assassin was suddenly attacked by Jing Rui, losing one arm, and the assassin's knife also hurt Jing Rui's left shoulder. A surprise attack filled Jing Rui with confidence. Trading injuries for injuries, exchanging injuries for lives, Jing Rui is not afraid. He's injured, find him quickly, the killer shouted loudly. These assassins were invigorated. If you're injured, it's even better to kill. So these assassins no longer covered up and lit torches, searching all over the mountain for the injured Jing Rui. Jing Rui hid in the dark, revealing a cruel curve at the corner of his mouth. Shoo! A Wuling 7-fold assassin was beheaded with a knife before he could scream in agony. Similar raids continue to occur, and the number of assassins is rapidly decreasing. There are only 10 assassins left in the golden elixir realm who have died. Everyone lean together, don't be too scattered. Take care of each other, one of them reminded. Chapter 9. Birth date and 8 characters. You are listening at novelfull.audio. De co lois ara trong quatrin lay text. Chapter 10. How to enjoy life and fear death. You are listening at novelfull.audio. I'll give him the remaining spirit stones, a voice came from the door. If young Master Xiao guarantees it, then there's no problem, said the shop owner with a warm smile. It's you, Jing Rui recognized, the first young man to take the wash marrow pill on site last time. Senior brother, it's so coincidental. Young Master Xiao said enthusiastically. Boss, this is my senior brother. Wrap up that soft armor. Young Master Xiao happily threw a ring over. Jing Rui felt a bit embarrassed and said, "No merit, no reward, junior brother Xiao. Call me Xiao Feng. Your last spring returning pill helped my old man a lot, and he keeps asking me to invite you. Thank you in person. If it happens, the day may not be as good as the day. If senior brother has nothing to do, come with me back to the mansion. My house is not far ahead. If there's time, then go ahead and let junior brother Xiao lead the way," Jing Rui said confidently. Without much effort, we arrived at Xiao Mansion. Jing Rui was received with high standards. During this period, Xiao Jian, the head of the Xiao family, repeatedly proposed to cooperate with Jing Rui on the sales of spring returning pills and marrow washing pills. The Xiao family was originally engaged in the business of medicinal herbs, and it was only natural for them to sell some pills. Collaboration is not impossible. Have you discussed the division of labor? Jing Rui asked. Since I also want to make money, it is relatively easy and worry-free to have others provide medicinal herbs and sell them. I can refine pills for them myself. All the medicinal herbs are provided by the Xiao family, and the pills are divided into 6 for you and 4 for me. What do you think? Xiao Jian said, and several other elders of the Xiao family also agreed to this decision. Okay, from now on, we'll have junior brother Xiao contact us. Jing Rui looked at Xiao Feng. In fact, Jing Rui only agreed to cooperate with Xiao Feng because he was optimistic about him. Otherwise, he would be too lazy to bother with your Xiao family. Xiao Feng's family of 3 did not hold much status in the main family because they learned that Xiao Feng's father, Xiao Qingshan, was on his deathbed. After eating the spring revival pill brought back by Xiao Feng, they were still old and young, almost 30 years younger, and radiant. After this matter spread in the Xiao family, Xiao Feng's status only improved in the Xiao family. Such an incredible effect, even a fool knows how valuable it is. On the way out of the Xiao family, Xiao Feng held something in his hands and handed it over. Senior brother, my father specifically instructed me to give you this heirloom as a gesture of gratitude. You have seen the situation at home, and there is really nothing I can hold on to. That's all. Jing Rui looked at the goose egg-sized object and asked, "What is it?" "I don't know what it is. According to my father, it has been passed down from our ancestors for hundreds of years." Okay, Jing Rui took this thing that he didn't know was something and went to find Jing Xiu and Hai Tang. On the other side of the town, the second daughter hugged a pile of things and was very happy. Suddenly stopped by several young people with lewd expressions. "Where are you going, little girl?" "Let's go with some supporting brothers," said one of the seductive fans, pinching the crabapple under his chin. "Get lost." Hai Tang was both scared and anxious, he had never experienced this battle before. Jing Xiu was still giggling foolishly. "Big brother, you see, this fool looks even better." After speaking, the other 4 guys gathered around and gestured at Jing Xiu. A cold and indifferent light flashed through Jing Xiu's eyes, still giggling foolishly. "Let go of them." This was a voice without any emotion. "Oh, where did you come from? You dare to meddle in our affairs." The 8 young people turned around and looked at Jing Rui, extremely arrogant. Just these useless things, Jing Rui didn't even pay attention to them. The strongest martial artist is Jiu Chong. However, if he dares to flirt with the second daughter, Jing Rui will not let them leave alive. 3 knives, they cut these thugs into many pieces. A small episode, Jing Rui didn't even care about it. In this remote and resource-scarce small place, people's cultivation is even lower, and naturally no one dares to seek revenge. 2 days later, the 3 of them returned to the Tianjingshan sect, Jing Rui's residence. Jing Xiu and Hai Tang were arranged to move to the room next to Jing Rui. "It's been a long time since I practiced well." The first thing Jing Rui did when he returned was to practice. Take out the round egg and place it next to it. Unexpectedly, this egg is also absorbing the spiritual energy of heaven and earth. It wasn't until the second day at noon that Jingrui finished his work. Although his realm did not improve, the lotus flower in his body had grown a bit larger. At the same time, in the main hall of the Tianjingxian sect, the leader of the ethereal peak alone challenged the sect leader, as well as more than 20 major peak leaders and elders, causing a heated argument. The reason is that the families of the disciples who were killed by Jing Rui last time have already approached the door and demanded to hand over Jing Rui, otherwise they will unite to besiege Tianjingxian. The deadline is 3 days. Even General Huang of the Dao Palace came to the information, firmly stating that Jing Rui was a fugitive from the court. If he did not surrender, he would send troops to encircle and suppress him, and the consequences would be unpredictable. Except for the leader of the ethereal peak, everyone else agreed to hand over Jingrui to avoid any harm to the sect. The fat man is the only eyewitness on the scene, and everyone has truthfully explained the cause and effect of the incident. Of course, there is no shortage of discipline and punishment. Junior brother, he's just a new disciple. There's really no need to argue with his senior brothers. Besides, the 5 major forces are besieging Tianjing Mountain. Do you think we have a chance of winning? Said the sect leader with a long focus to the peak leader of the ethereal peak. Senior brothers and sisters, you will regret today's decision, said the leader of the ethereal peak, leading the fat man out of the hall. You go find Jingrui now and tell him the truth about the situation here. Let him fly away as soon as possible, the better, said the leader of the ethereal peak to the fat man on the road. In Jingrui's residence, the fat man told Jingrui everything that happened in the main hall. Since that's the case, escaping is not a solution. Besides, if I really want to escape, the ethereal peak and others will be implicated. I don't want to live in guilt, and it will be extremely detrimental to my future cultivation. Jingrui said. Life is no joy, death is no fear, Jingrui exclaimed from a feeling. With a boom sound, Jingrui's body made a light sound, breaking through 5 small realms and directly entering the Wuling realm. It's really joy that comes from heaven. The breakthrough in mood also drives the breakthrough in body. The fat man suddenly suffered a heavy blow. It's all right, his mother. I'm going to realize it, too. The fat man said and went back to the next room. It's unclear whether he can realize something. There are still 3 days left, we need to make some preparations. Yes, Jingrui began refining the revival pill. In other words, even if he was killed, as long as he ate the revival pill within an hour, he could be saved. Purple chi can repair wounds, but it's not foolproof. It's better to prepare with both hands. However, there are still 2 main spiritual medicines, Snow Spirit and Bodhi Leaf, which are 10,000 years away. They can only be refined into a low-grade version of the Rebirth pill.